Welcome back to my Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where my keyboard has stopped working. So, I can't adjust my volume, but it's okay, the volume's at a normal volume, so, it's all what we expect, it's all vibing, as usual. I find this happening actually sometimes when, I start my computer, my keyboard just doesn't work, like my left Windows button doesn't work. Does my right Windows? My right Windows button does. I don't know why. I suppose, if anything, it's a bit of a sign that this keyboard is extraordinarily old. It is probably 15 years old or something, so even more of a sign that I should definitely change it at some point. But as long as it keeps its major function of being able to type as a keyboard, I think that is the important part. But anyway, good evening everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 8:10 PM on Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. Of course, Label's visiting, but we will be promptly ignoring her. What should we talk about? I'm not really sure what to talk about. Oh, sorry about that, a little bit of a pause. And by a little bit of a pause, I mean quite a long pause, to be honest. At least on my side, maybe not for you, obviously. Let me just punch my microphone, of course. That is exactly what I meant to do. Well, I don't really know what to talk about today. That was probably what I was saying. At least I feel like what I was saying. I feel like there's a lot to talk about, sort of drama-wise, Wizards of Coast, they got the whole thing with Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not nearly familiar enough to know exactly what's going on, except for people are not happy with it, and as I understand it, for good reason. I don't know, the League of Legends cinematic, the new season cinematic was released today, and League of Legends certainly has a history of having pretty cool cinematics and stuff of a game, and this one was, I would say, a little bit underwhelming, is one way to put it. What else is going on, dramatic wise, and then the small circles that I pertain to? Not really much I can think of. I mean, there probably is something. There's something else. I know YouTube is now doing something about demonetizing if you swear in the first 30 seconds or something, 15 seconds or something like that, which of course definitely sucks, is all I can really say. My heart, I was gonna say my heart goes out to all the YouTube content creators out there, but perhaps that's a little bit dramatic in a sense, but certainly I sympathise with the situation. I mean, it doesn't, you might be like, does it affect you? No, it doesn't affect me, because I don't really swear in these videos, nor do I make any money off them in the first place. So I guess that's sort of I'm dodging a bullet by not even being in the path or something in the first place. I don't know, what's that analogy? It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, well, I don't know, what should I talk about? Oh, actually, what could be a cool thing to talk about? If you don't know, there's a YouTuber called Video Game Donkey who makes these sort of satirical, sort of serious videos about, video games in general. To be honest, do I watch his videos? I watch some of his videos. I don't watch all of his videos, I'm going to be honest. And I feel like he has interesting sort of perspectives on it. It's the sort of thing where it's he actually has, Amelia's photo. I don't know, we got another one of Amelia's photos. He has quite an in-depth view on video games and industry. He's a good understanding of it, certainly, but he puts it under a guise of comedic humour, which is not exactly always to my taste. It's sometimes to my taste, sometimes hit, sometimes miss. That's just how humour is, I suppose. But I think he has some well thought takes, and I said my thing about reviewers in general, where specifically about reviewers, you just basically got to find one which is suited one to your taste, because everyone's got different opinions about sort of thing. It's you can look at things from one angle. You can look at things very sort of subjectively, objectively, about what is good and what is bad, I suppose. Certain things certainly are, even if it's opinion based, there are things which, if they're above a 90% agreement rate, I think, of the entire industry of the world or whatever, then you can probably be yeah, okay, that's an objective quote truth, maybe even a objective truth or falsehood. But when it comes to reviewers, oftentimes you probably find more benefit just finding someone whose tastes align with yours, because whether a game is objectively quote bad or good is quite different from one which you will enjoy or not. But anyway, I don't really know where I was going with this, but yeah, this whole round circle of a conversation is that he started a video game publisher, I think, company. It's called Big Bone or something like that, which I thought was pretty interesting, because I was oftentimes I feel ventures, especially with YouTubers in general, don't always go exactly to plan. But I was let's just sort of see how it goes. And they announced their first game. It's called Animal Well, I believe, that they're publishing within the past a few days, and it's actually genuinely, I looked at it and I was like, this seems kind of interesting, because it's apparently it's like a Metroidvania except for with puzzles, you know, a la like Tunic or whatever. You're not a real pirate? Oh sure, buried treasure. I don't think we've done a treasure hunt for like ages. Which is cool. So like it's a Metroidvania. So, you know, it's basically a Metroidvania where you go back and forth like around areas or whatever, except for like there's puzzles and stuff to uncover, which is a la like Tunic, as I say, which is a game I will be playing eventually on my channel. You know, when exactly, you might ask. I don't know when exactly, but I do own it, and it's been hotly under my eye, and I think someone's recommended it to me. I don't really remember if they have or if they haven't. So, you know, it's actually genuinely one. Oh no, we need to go get a shovel. It's actually genuinely something which I saw the Steam, I saw his like video announcement for, which was actually kind of inside like a New Year's announcement video or something. It was like genuinely was quite interesting, and you know, it kind of got me thinking. It was like, what if I had my own like, you know, like Dear Darling Publishing, not house, but publishing, like, well, I guess it could be a publishing studio in general, you know. It doesn't have to be restricted to just video games or anything like that, but, you know, video games, movies, like, series, other things. What would I end up publishing? What sort of things would have caught my eye? I would have been like, yes, I would have jumped on that. Obviously, I mean, I think the obvious answer is anything which is sort of puzzly based, anything which is story based, and you know, there's a sort of thing which I definitely sort of like lap up and be like, yes, this is the sort of thing I want to publish under Dear Darling Studios. I mean, that'd be a pretty cool thing to be able to do one day, you know, be able to be like, oh, you know, I'm financially stable and, you know, have enough money to basically be like, you know what, I can do a passion project of literally just like publishing things I want to see created. Like, I'm sure people have daydreamed about this in a certain degree before, but you know, it's very common with like, you know, it's something I think about being like, oh, you know, if I was just like a billionaire or something, you know, I feel like a lot of the money I would spend would just be like spending it on things which I want to see get funded, you know, like random Kickstarter games or projects where I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool, I want to see that like actually be made. And I could just like single-handedly fund it. I mean, it's probably quite a naive way to just sort of single-handedly just like put all your money on it and be like, go wild. And I suppose it's sort of thing where you're meant to like reach a business agreement or whatever, you know, do it for a limited corporation. I don't really know. I'm not that like well versed about businesses and running businesses, so don't take any of my advice or whatever I say. Just sort of like the idea of doing it sounds very cool, very appealing. Of course, I'd certainly love to do that someday, but you know, that's not going to happen. You know, that's very much in the realm of fantasy rather than reality, I would say. And unless my life changes very dramatically within the next like 5 or 10 years, then who knows? I suppose anything's on the table then. But yeah, I got like something stuck in my throat. I can't tell what. I didn't unmute myself, but yeah, I don't know what I'd publish. Like, I suppose thinking back to the games I would have played, if I saw them like out of E3, because that's I believe how Video Game Donkey found Animal Well. If I remember the story that he said correctly, it's like he saw it at E3 and was like, that looks interesting, and then he like started like negotiations and being like, hey, I want to publish your game, etc, 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 and then the rest is history. You know, this would be a lot easier, I suppose, to find the actual buried treasure if we didn't have so many fossils and gyroids all around the place, which I have never dug up. And just to be sure that it's not hiding behind here. But those are ones which we've seen about for ages, so, you know, if anything, I should be well versed in avoiding them, because I'm just like, yeah, that definitely isn't it, because that's been there for like 6 years. 6 years is a bit much. Maybe not that long. And if we don't find it, then, you know, I wonder where he put it. Entirely possible I could have just like ran past it and been unwiser, to be honest. Hello, media. No, but this one's been here for ages, hasn't it? Did we always have 6 minutes to find it? I feel like I remember failing the treasure hunt once, which sort of seems inconceivable of how long we've been given to do it. But you know, let's not eat my words. Let's actually win the treasure hunt first before I say so. And just sort of trying to think about what game would I conceivably have seen in E3 and been like, yes, I want to publish that. Because I feel like most of the games I see in E3, like, I don't always look at indie showcases. I do sometimes look at indie showcases. Normally like But the one I can think of off the top of my head is the Wholesome Direct. Is that what it's called? Because that has a lot of cute stuff in it, and there's a lot of stuff which is very much up my alley. I don't know. I feel like one I would have published, but I think I already had a publisher by the time, so it would have been like Chicken Police or something. That's something that just sort of seems like, this seems so silly and absurd. I absolutely want to see it turned into a game. A whole series, perhaps, in fact, but, you know, it's a sort of a danger. You know, and sometimes some good ideas should just be left as, like, the one good idea they got, you know? I mean, it's not to say that I'm like, oh, Chicken Police developers should get no funding. That's not what I mean. But, like, you know, if you, like, I suppose, have that financial pressure to be like, oh, you know, do this or whatever. I'm sure there's a pressure to try and actually deliver on something about which maybe you can't deliver on. Maybe, you know, and like, I see it and I'm like, oh, I'm going to fund you for, like, 8 games. And they're like, ooh, oh, no, we only had, like, ideas for, like, 2 games or something. And then, like, games 3 to 8 are just, like, not very good or something. And then, you know, it'd be a little bit disappointing, I would say. Also, I have no idea where you buried this, Apollo. You hit him as very well. And I feel like we ran everywhere, so congrats, Apollo. I think you've outsmarted me. Although it was sort of like a catastrophe event where I had to go get a shovel. And there was like so many different things buried. It'd be nice if he told us afterwards where he buried it. I genuinely don't know where it could be. We've only got 1 second. What happens if I just never go back to talk to him? Oh, isn't it a thing that, like, if I see it and I pick it up now, he'll be like, ah, too bad, you can't have it or something? I don't know. Does it, like, evaporate from existence? Was that it there? I thought I saw it there for a second and I was about to lose my mind. I was like, how did I miss it? Hello, Apollo. Did I make it too hard? Ah, well, so be it. My own misfortunes. But that was a bit of fun. I don't know what other games I would, you know, okay, let's imagine that all the games I've ever played were not, had no publisher or whatever. They were just, like, small indie games. Okay, maybe let's restrict ourselves to indie games. It's not like I'd see Life is Strange, like, True Colours and be like, whoa, I'm going to fund that. Because I probably, oh, maybe I would. Oh, is that it over there? Are you kidding me, Apollo? How did you get it there? If that genuinely is it, that's actually quite funny. Oh my god. I found the treasure. I don't know what happens if you open this. I'm actually just going to give it back to Apollo and see what he says. That was incredibly well hidden, I'm not going to lie. It's thoroughly outsmarted me, outfoxed me, I would say. I'm pretty sure if I talk to him about it, he'd be like, oh, you found it. Well, you can't have it or something. Which is fair enough because, you know, I didn't win it. I don't know, Spiritfarer? I certainly see myself funding Spiritfarer. Well, actually, I'm not sure if I would, because it is advertised as a management simulator, which, you know, I don't think would have been really up my alley immediately. Like, I could definitely see myself being like, I could definitely see myself being like Omori. That's something I could certainly see funding. Chicken Police, I think, is the obvious one. What else? What else have I played? It's kind of hard to remember off the top of my head. Babra's You, certainly, if I saw it. Well, I'm not actually sure about that as well, because I feel like Babra You is one of the biggest catalysts into me loving puzzle games. Like, I like puzzles in general, but like I don't think a puzzle game had particularly swayed and won me over. Well, I said maybe I didn't give all that many chances. But Babra's You, certainly, I was just like, whoa, this is fantastic. And made me seek out more. I don't know. I'm just trying to sort of think about what things I would also like to, like, publish, you know, like outside of medium of just video games. Wow, there's a lot of fossils. 6 fossils. I don't really know off the top of my head, to be honest. It's hard, because I don't think I've seen many, like, indie animation projects, or whether I'm just like, oh, you know, this is something I would this is something I'd add to my collection. But, well, doesn't that sound super fun? Just sort of go around being like, hey, you know, I got money to burn. You with your really cool indie project, I'm going to fund you, and just see how that goes. Because I mean, I feel like it's easy for me to say with, like, my detached mindset, I suppose, I have right now, be like, oh, you never had that sort of money to burn, and, you know, I definitely fund these projects, and then allow the creators to kind of do whatever they want, without, like, the pressure of being like, they had to meet, like, certain expectations, or follow certain guidelines, or, you know, get, like, certain shareholder, like, sponsorship or whatever, money, etc. I don't know business terms, I'm going to be honest. They can just sort of like, you know, just create what we actually wanted to create. I think it's easy for me to say with that sort of mindset, but who knows? Maybe if I had an infinite amount of money, I mean, you don't really get into like money to burn sort of amounts of money without, you know, I suppose being kind of like approaching things from a sort of very businessy mindset. I'd imagine. Don't quote me on that. Who knows if that's true or not? Suppose you could just sort of stumble into riches. You know, you can win the lottery like twice or something. Oh, isn't that like winning the lottery is actually super, super dangerous? It actually kind of like ruins your life, depending on how much you win. If you win like 100,000, I don't think it's going to ruin your life. I think you'll be like, yeah. But it's a thing like if you win like multi-millions, like every single multi-millionaire has ended up like bankrupt or something. Or as like their life has been ruined just because there's like a load of social pressure and that sort of things. Like a lot of people also don't know how to fiscally handle the money they have. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, given that all, you know, part of me still just sort of like, I'd still like to win the lottery, you know. I'm sure I could handle it, maybe. Who knows if I actually could or not. We have so many Lily of the Valleys now. Like, I don't even know what to do with them. I guess we'll just start doubling up the thickness of the pathways of the plants. Yeah, part of me is just sort of like, yeah, I'm sure I'd be fine. I'm sure I could figure out a way for it to be fine. I'm just trying to think. This is why I need to look up the games I played and be like, yes, this would be a game I would have sponsored, probably. YouTube Studio, where is my playlists? I forgot they moved playlists to like under content. Cuphead definitely would have been a game. I mean, that's even no, because they're like their own studio. It's like 3 people or something. Their studio, MDHR Studios, right? That's definitely something. If I saw it, I'd be like, yes, more of this, please. I think Spiritfarer is plausible. I think Anarchy is actually quite plausible as well, despite the fact that, you know, after I played it, I was kind of like, eh. It's not my favourite game in the world, certainly, but, you know, it's the sort of game I saw it and I was like, this looks like fun. One Shot, I could certainly see that. Ori. I think Ori was already being published by, like, Microsoft or something at that point. Later Alligator, that's a very obvious answer as well. It's got the sort of charm I love. I'm not going to say my sort of charm, because that's not really right. Oh yeah, Return of the Obra Dinn. Didn't the creator of that, like Lucas Paper, whatever, he made like a sequel to it or something. Not like Return of the Obra Dinn specifically, but he made another game which followed it up. I was meant to look it up. I actually forgot about it till just now. Ages ago I saw it. I also saw Loa Shikihara, the person who made Rakuin. I don't know what part she made. I don't think she's a programmer, so I don't imagine she programmed it. But I'm going to call her the creator of it anyway. Has like a sequel to it coming out, which I don't know if it's in the Rakuin universe or not. But anyway, I forgot what it was called. Obra Dinn. Game and soundtrack. Lucas Pope. Papers, Please. I could have sworn I saw this. Beta? I don't know, just beta exclamation mark. I thought Lucas Pope has an upcoming game or something. Does he not? Maybe he doesn't. Mars After Midnight, is this it? A small 1-bit game I'm working on from Playdate, I don't know. I might have just made this up. Lucas Pope, newest game. A new kind of detective game which allows you to think freely. Is this it? Or maybe it was a Lucas Pope-like game. Maybe it wasn't actually a Lucas Pope game. Mars After Midnight. Maybe, is this Mars After Midnight? I thought it was... I don't really know, I'm going to be honest. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to round off this episode here. So, I don't know. Dear Darling Studios. I can't title it that. I don't know. Publisher? Like, self-published? I don't know. I'll think of a title. But anyway, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Twitter and Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's out there. Well, so until next time. Bye-bye for now.